Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. My name is Neo. In this video, we are just getting started by showing you this client's nails. So this set is up on my channel, check that out, I'll link that in the cards for you. But she was going on vacation and wanted a color change. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to kind of revamp a set that isn't fully grown out. She had them for about a week and a half. And you're going to see me in my removal process that I'm often talking about, but instead of filing all the way down to that clear acrylic layer, I'm just thinning out these nails. Also, this client was in a time crunch. She had a lot of plans. She was leaving in a day. So I was just kind of like, the pressure is on. We got to redo this set and get her out in, enough time. So as you can see, I've got my dust collector from Young Nails down below. I love it so much. And as you can see, all the dust that's on that collector from her previous hand. And I'm not even removing the entire set like I normally do. I like to lay a clear acrylic layer on all of the nails before going in with my colored acrylic and or designs. And then when the client comes back in, I like to remove the entire design and colored acrylic back to that clear acrylic layer. Because we were in such a rush, I was just focused on removing as much as I could and thinning out the nail so that we could build back up with product, not necessarily removing everything. So as you can see on that previous nail, I did not file off the Dior transfer foil that was on the base of that nail. I figured it wouldn't matter. And after this set, we knew that we were going to be taking them completely off because she's going back to work and can't have super long nails. So it was just a judgment call to say, for once, I'm just gonna, thin these out. We'll build on top, and then when you come back, we're gonna start completely fresh. So things are gonna be a little bit different in this video, but I wanted to show you a little bit of that removal process and to just show you, a little bit of what that looks like. The bit that I'm using is a 5-in-1 carbide bit. It is a 2x course. I like to use a 2 or 3x course. I really love these bits. They eat through that product so quickly. And I just feel really secure with it. I have my e-file all the way up at 35,000 RPM, and I just focus on not using too much pressure because you don't want to lose control of the bit, but just making sure that the bit and the speed kind of do the work. As you can see, my hand is covered in dust. That's normal for me for the most part in terms of removals, but the dust collector definitely helps a ton so that my desk area is not, covered in dust like that. So as you can see, the nails do have product still on them. I did not, again, file down to the clear acrylic layer. I am just focused on thinning them out and basically prepping her for a new design, not necessarily a new set or like a serious fill-in. So I'm pushing her cuticles back. I sprayed her hands with alcohol. I just like to do that. It helps to moisten up the area so that it's easier to push that skin back. And then I'm going to go in with this diamond kind of flame bit. It's a diamond grit, which is kind of like the same as a sanding band, but metal. It has that same texture, so it's safe to use on the natural nail and on the skin around that area. And I'm going to be going in the forward and backwards directions, just so that I can kind of get all of the dead skin that's kind of up. It's not very much because it hasn't been very long since she got this set, but good prep is always a good foundation. You saw that there was very minimal lifting on the set that she had before. If you prep really well, then the sets will last. So there you go. I just flipped my e-file into the reverse direction. So this is kind of the direction you would use if you were left-handed. I'm right-handed, obviously. You can see that. But to go in the opposite direction, it just kind of flicks the skin in the opposite direction. So I'm saying direction a lot, so that you can kind of really grind it up off the nail. Now that that's done, I like to go in with my sanding band. This is a medium grit from Young Nails at a very slow speed. So in terms of prep, I like to use my e-file at the lowest speeds possible, max maybe 5,000 RPM. You do not want to use crazy high speeds because we're touching the actual nail plate and we don't want to damage that nail plate. We just want to kind of buff it, etch it a little bit so that we remove any dead skin, anything that might interfere with the extension process, and we just want to make sure that we have the best possible adhesion. So because this client had an excess of dead skin around her nails, I'm actually going in with this buffing bit. It's kind of it's a diamond bit, but it's kind of like a cone, not a cone, a cylinder with a dome top. And I'm just using it mainly on her skin. And the client actually said, this kind of feels nice. It's like a little bit relaxing. It's a little bit higher than the 5,000 RPM, maybe 6 or 7. But I'm using it mainly to get rid of any dead skin kind of touching her, that's on her actual sidewalls and cuticle area. Now it's time to prep. prep, I'm going in with Dehydrator from Mia Secret, the Extra Bond from Mia Secret, and then a very, very thin coat of the Young Nails Protein Bond. And you can kind of see that I'm mainly focusing it on where the natural nail has been exposed. Any new growth or wherever I removed any lifting that might have been there, that's where I'm applying this primer. It doesn't make sense to apply primer on top of product because it's not really going to do much of anything. But once I'm making sure to allow the coats of primer to dry in between. So this is where things are a little bit different. Normally you would see me going in with a clear acrylic layer to kind of just backfill that area. I didn't do that. She was really in a time crunch, and I'm gonna tell you guys, I was stressed. I was like, ooh. She's a client who doesn't really tell me anything. She just sits down, she watches TV, and then she gets up when I'm done. So I have free reign with her all the time. It's so great. And I had already thought of the design I wanted to do for her. She's going on vacation and said she wanted something super bright and super fun and super tropical for vacation. So I already had the design planned. And then when she was just like, yeah, but I gotta leave really quickly, I was like, ooh, I gotta cut out some steps. Especially because we knew this was just gonna be a quick redesign and it wasn't supposed to last for particularly long. I was like, all right, we're just gonna skip that clear acrylic layer. I'm going in with Valentino's Dolce de Leche. Oh, first of all, check out my nails, right? My nails are pretty cool. I probably have released that video, but if not, check that out. I'll link it in the cards if it is. But I'm going in with Valentino's Dolce de Leche. This color is becoming a really big fave of mine recently. It's just a beautiful, cool toned brown. It really reminds me of my favorite Tara Ui by the Red Acrylics, which is now discontinued. I'm so heartbroken over it. And I really like it. I still stand by what I say, and you know, the fact that Valentino products set really quickly. As you can see, I'm using smaller beads than I normally would. Normally I like to use like a chunky medium to large size bid right at that free edge area and kind of take my time to work it down the length of the nail. I already know that I have to work differently with Valentino products. No biggie, I'm just adjusting because I really love these colors. So I'm using smaller beads and just focusing on giving good coverage and structure. I will not be clear capping these nails. So my first bead is halfway through that free edge. I'm focusing on allowing the product to kind of polymerize a little bit and then molding it around that tip. So as you saw, the tip was a little bit dull. She's been wearing them, typing, tapping her nails, doing laundry, you know, whatever we do with our hands. So I like to focus on my acrylic application, especially on that free edge, to be super sharp. I find, there you go, I'm always patting the sidewalls and that free edge to kind of mold that drying acrylic so that it hardens in that sharp shape, so that when I go into file, it's already there. I don't really have to do too much. That's just, you know, what I focus on in terms of my acrylic application. But we are just being careful, slowly building up the nail because I know that the acrylic sets a little bit faster, and just adding really small beads wherever necessary. My main focus is just to cover up the previous colors. In this case, it's like that mint green. And it's so cool to, there you go, Dior's on this nail. So my focus is to build up that nail and cover all the Dior possible. Some of the nails, you can kind of see the color on the side, around the sidewalls, but I didn't care because I knew that the design we were doing had lots of color and would totally fix that. So in a crunch, you know, you kind of get it done. Just make sure that the nail has enough structure and, you know, you'll figure it out later. So here is what I'm talking about in terms of molding that free edge. You're going to see me constantly patting while the product is drying to get a nice sharp shape. I'm going to go back to it and just make sure that I sharpen that shape by patting the product back and forth and using the body of my brush to kind of pat that free edge. And then it's going to make sure that I have that nice, sharp, kind of squarish shape at the tip of these nails. Nothing crazy, just building up every single nail with the same Valentino Dolce de Leche color. And there you go, beautiful, beautiful application. We have now changed the base color of her nails. I'm going in, like you know, with my e-filing. I like to go in with a medium carbide bit. This is a non-safety. It's by Macart. It is absolutely my favorite bit right now. I'm just like trying to buy as many as possible. They come in like a set of like, I think 12 or 18 pieces or whatever, but this is the bit that I really, really love the most. I like a medium because it removes enough product, but it also has the power to just smooth and kind of etch the product. So if you go in with the top coat or like designs, then you already have a little bit of texture for that gel to stick to, but it's not a fine where I feel like I have to spend too much time. E-filing, my main focus is to smooth the surface of the nail, clean the sidewalls and cuticle area in case there's any acrylic touching the skin there. And this color is just really beautiful. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's just like it's a really nice brown that kind of just works for all my brown girls. I'm really, really adamant on making sure that I have products that can kind of cover the range of skin tones. I'm not gonna lie, it really irks me when I see like a dark skinned hand with like that super creamy light beige as like a nail plate nude color. It's just kind of like, come on guys, like we can do better. We can do better than that. So this color is really, really gorgeous. Definitely check it out, and make sure to use the monomer as well. I was using the Valentino monomer, and it was really interesting because I'd never used it before. So, you know, that's another thing. The Valentino set, it worked easier. Maybe I should have been using the Valentino monomer from the beginning. Who knows? But I definitely used it during this process, and it, as you saw, it wasn't terrible. If anything, I just have to kind of alter the way that I like to work, but it still came out fine. My e-file is set to a medium to high speed at this point, and in terms of making sure I have control, you can see that I have my ring finger and my pinky of my left hand braced on the opposite side of her finger. That kind of helps me so that if the e-file kind of wants to skip around the nail, my hand is there and kind of prevents that. And it just gives me a little bit more stability. So when I'm filing, especially on a longer nail, you put your fingers under there so that you can kind of give yourself a counter pressure against the e-file, so that the client's fingernail is not like pressing down. It's a lot of pressure and a lot of weight on that fingertip. So that's just things that I do. I kind of feel around. But one thing, when you have super duper long nails like me at this point, e-filing, I'm always damaging my nails. I don't know, if you're a nail tech, do you damage your nails when doing doing other people's nails, I feel like my nails only look cute for about 3 to 4 days, because I get a client and then the e-file's like clicking my nail, or when I'm filing my nails too, and then they're scuffed and they're messed up. But I don't know, that definitely happens with my nails. After e-filing, I like to go in with my hand file. This is a 100 grit, and there's not very much to do in terms of shaping. I'm just cleaning things up. So the shape that she came back with was fairly fine. I did a good job with the acrylic application, and then the e-filing definitely helps to maintain the shape even more, so that there's just less hand filing to do. Hand filing is so stressful on the body, on your wrist. I feel like my palm and my thumb have been hurting a lot lately. I've been doing a lot of videos, a lot of nails. I do have a lot of videos coming out, so definitely check those out. But I just feel like I want to do as little hand filing as possible. So I'm just trying to make sure that my process kind of accommodates that. So making sure that I apply my acrylic really nicely, making sure that I e-file first, and then the hand filing is just kind of like the last bit of shaping that I have to do. And it just works for me that way. Definitely do whatever works for you. But as you can see, I don't spend a ton of time hand filing, which is what I would like for myself. You do whatever works for you. So to give the nails a little bit more of a texture, I'm just buffing them with this buffing block, and I like to buff the bottom and top of the nail. So I'm buffing the top side to side, just making sure to go around the nail to smooth that out. But then I like to buff the bottom as well. When I do my filing, often that bottom edge is really sharp. I mean, I personally like a sharp nail, but I know some clients, you know, just prefer their nails not be super sharp, so like they scratch their face or anything like that. So I like to buff the bottom just a little bit, just to kind of dull that down, to kind of help the client out a little bit. I sent the client to wash her hands, but when she came back, I like to spray her down with alcohol again and use my manicure brush to further sanitize the nails, remove any dust. It just helps me, and it helps to dehydrate the nails as well. Especially in this case, we're going to be going in with a ton of gel polish. You just kind of want a nice dry surface to kind of begin to work on or anything like that. So this design is actually something that I've already done on my channel. I did it on myself when I recreated the first Instagram post I ever made back in 2012 or 2013. It's just so funny, actually. I was on my Facebook page trying to look for a photo, and I didn't realize that I had been doing nails back in like 2008, 2007. Like, it's insane. So I'm gonna start doing a recreation series where I recreate old designs that I was doing. Of course, they look like really bad because back then we definitely didn't have what we have now. But I just thought it was so interesting to kind of see that. So this was actually the first design I ever posted to my Instagram channel. Definitely follow me on Instagram. And I did it on myself, but it was a cooler toned design. So I used like teals, blues, and purples. In this case, I am going in the opposite direction on the spectrum, and we're going warm, we're going neon, we're going bright, and we're going pink. So I'm using these colors. We have like a nice lavender purple, a hot pink, orange jelly, and a neon yellow. And I just thought that these colors were so good and apt for a summer vacation. Super bright, super fun. And this design is definitely a design that kind of happens with time. I know in the beginning, even the client was just kind of like, okay. But by the end, I promise it gets better. So I applied those colors in more of a herringbone pattern, kind of swiping one over the other in a diagonal towards the cuticle. Make sure you wipe your sidewalls. It's a lot of product. I don't cure when doing that. So if you're someone who's a little bit worried about contaminating your colors, and definitely, you know, cure, but I don't care. I wiped my sidewall so that we're not losing that beautiful shape we worked. It is going to get bulky because it's a lot of hand designing, and then had her cure. Now on that inhibition layer, I just went in with the iGel Beauty Ether Flakes. They're these really, really sheer, thin, holographic kind of flakes, and I just added that to the polish area. They stick perfectly to that inhibition layer on the gel, and it just adds a bit of sparkle without actually having to add glitter to the nail. Then I'm going to be using these liner striper gel polish stripers, I guess is what you can call them, to kind of just draw these abstract 3-line designs. I'm not sure how to describe it, but this is definitely what everyone was getting back in the late 90s, 2000s. And the base colors are always white and black, and then you can add additional colors. In this case, I did go in and add additional colors, a neon yellow and a hot pink. There you go, I'm changing my mind with that one. Gotta love gel polish for that you can just wipe away and start over. But even at this point, the design is kind of like there and grounded, and it looks really, really graphic and cool. I really, really love this design. As you can see, it's super, super easy. I do have it like sped up, just so that you're not watching me paint 3 lines like really, really slowly. But I am just using a neon yellow and a hot pink to kind of tie in with the colors that we did before. When I did my set, I only did white and black lines, and it came out great, but I just thought that this added a ton of additional colors. She wanted bright nails for her vacation. She's definitely got them, and you can definitely see how cool and graphic the design is at this point. I just think this is super fun and super easy. Of course, that's why everybody was getting it. So I'm gonna have her cure in between each layer, and then this set is pretty much almost done. Last thing I'm gonna do is add some dots, because you can't have this set without a little bit of dotting. So normally I would use a dotting tool, but because she was in such a rush, I was like, all right, I'm just gonna use the tip of this brush here, and I'm just adding random white dots, and then I'm gonna go back and add black dots. That's going to be it for the gel part of this design. Yeah. And finally, like I did in my design, we have to add some bling to these nails. So I'm going in with my Zule Bling adhesive really, really quickly, swiping across kind of like a curve randomly on the nail. And I'm adding 3 rhinestones coming from the opposite corners. And I just think in, conjunction with the ether flakes that we added underneath, the ether flakes give it a little bit of a shimmer underneath the design, and the rhinestones definitely give it a pop of sparkle on top of the design. It's really, really graphic. It's a lot of color And you know, it's a lot going on these nails, which is why I wanted to go in with a really, really solid nude from Valentino. I think it looks great on her nails, and this is perfect for summer. Honestly, I love this design so much. I'm now thinking of a different color combination. I've done a cool one. This one is the warm kind of bright one. Maybe I should do a red one. I don't know. Give me a color combination that I should do this design in for sure, because it's a really, really good one. I'm just placing some crystal AB rhinestones on these nails. You do not have to cure, and just taking my time to kind of place them in the curved kind of shape, similar to what we did with the striping as well. Last thing to do for this set is to top coat. So I'm going in with Gloss It from Not Polish. Do not mind me painting over these tiny ass rhinestones. Like, I definitely wasn't going to be, you know, taking my time to kind of paint around them carefully. This client was in a super rush, and this design was super fast but super impactful. I do go in after and take a lint-free wipe and kind of swipe over the rhinestones so that they have their shine. But this also just helps to lock them down. They are surrounded completely by gel, so hopefully she'll come back and still have them. You saw in her previous set she still had her rhinestones there, and I believe I used Zule Bling adhesive. Really, really great resin adhesive for rhinestoning. Check it out. It's super affordable, but you have to keep it cool. I don't. I'm really bad about it, so mine is like really, really gummy, but I try and buy a new one maybe every 3 months or so because I use it a lot. Yeah, once happy, I'm gonna wipe off the rhinestones, swipe her sidewalls to remove any excess bulk so that we don't warp the shape too much. It was a lot of gel application, and if you don't do that over time, your nails really do lose their shape, and that's disappointing because we want a nice sharp shape, especially to the nails that we spent so much time applying acrylic to and shaping to. And then I'm gonna have her cure for 60 seconds. Alrighty guys, tell me this is not a beautiful summer vacation set. It absolutely is. I've got an action shot for you. Thank you so much for watching. Like if you like, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.